Hi guys, I'm Zakuri and this is the Markout Moment. Now, I realized that I haven't uploaded in quite a while. I've been very busy with the start of school and I just haven't found the time to work on videos. Now, I'm going to try and start uploading more often, and I thought the best way to start would be making a video on the start of the biggest competition in football, the World Cup draw. So, here are my reactions and predictions for the World Cup group stage. Let's get into it. Wow, this might be the most round of 32 group I've ever seen. It's a real killer's row we've got here. We've got Mexico, whose biggest accomplishment is scraping through a few Gold Cup wins. South Africa, who haven't been in the World Cup since 2010 and have never made it past the group stage. South Korea, the dictionary definition of a one-man team. And either Denmark, North Macedonia, Czechia, or Ireland, none of which has a chance in hell of making it past the round of 16. Now, I will not be paying much attention to this group as I highly doubt it'll impact the World Cup much. But as for predictions, I'll say South Korea and a qualifying Ireland, who have all the momentum in the world at the moment. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. The boys in red and white had an absolute clunker of a World Cup last competition, but I think that they could have a much better campaign in the true north, strong and free. Now, the other teams in this group are Qatar, one of the absolute worst teams in the world, and Switzerland, who haven't made it past the round of 16 since 1954. Now, the possible qualifiers are Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia. And as for predictions, I would say Canada and a qualifying Italy. Now, Italy haven't been much more than a joke in the last few years, but I believe that this could be their big comeback and they could reclaim their spot near the top of the international totem pole. The next group is a definite one-country group with Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland taking part. Now, obviously Brazil is the clear favourite, and I doubt the other teams will put up much of a fight, with the possible exception of an incredibly underrated Scottish team. Now, as for the predictions, it's not too hard a choice to make, with Brazil and Scotland clear favourites to advance. Another no-name group here with a lineup somehow worse than Group 1. The United States, Paraguay, and Australia national teams will have a war of mediocrity, and none of them have a chance of even making it past the round of 16 in my opinion. And as for possible group qualifiers, it only gets worse as Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo will compete to see who is the least awful of the bottom of the European barrel. Now, I would predict Romania to advance to the group stage, but as for knockouts, it'll be the USA and Australia. Another one-team group featuring a German team not at the very top of their game, but nothing brings out German football spirit like a World Cup, and I would predict them to have an excellent campaign, possibly even reaching the final. Now, as for the rest, Curacao, the Ivory Coast, and Ecuador will have a hotly contested battle for second place, where I believe Ecuador will come out on top, joining Germany in advancement. An interestingly unpredictable group here. Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and either Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, or Albania will battle it out in a group of criminally underrated teams. Now, I struggled to pick between these, but I think Poland will advance to the group stage and then the knockout round, joining the Netherlands. This could really go anyway, though. Not the highest stakes group here, but a one where anything could happen, featuring an over-the-hill Belgium, a talentless Iran and New Zealand, and an Egypt team led by the most washed man in the Prem, Mohamed thrown under the bus Salah. Now, none of these teams have much of a chance of advancing far in the knockouts, but I'm sure they'll at least produce some entertaining group stage matches. As for predictions, I choose Belgium, and Egypt, as they at least have a couple players that could be classified as good. Another one-team group, with Spain leading a pack of mediocrity, featuring no-name Cape Verde, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia, the best international team in the Middle East, which is as high as a bar as the most popular WNBA team. Spain is an easy choice for qualification, but choosing between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia is a little harder. Even though the Saudis had that historic group stage victory over Argentina, they were basically on home turf during that match, and they won't have half the supporters in North America that they had in Qatar. For that reason, I would choose the winners of the first ever World Cup, Uruguay, to advance to the knockouts. An obvious yet entertaining group here, featuring France, Norway, Senegal, and either Bolivia, Suriname, or Iraq. Firstly, I think Bolivia will reach the group stage, but there's not a chance that they make it to the knockouts. And as for qualifying teams to the knockouts, that'll be Norway and France. And that's quite an obvious answer, but this does mean we get to see Haaland and Mbappe facing off in a match. The dictionary definition of a one-team group here, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan will weekly battle for second place, while the reigning champions of the world, Argentina, will cruise to a first-place spot. Now, it's not too easy choosing between the last picks of the world draft, but I think Mahrez and Ait Nouri will carry Algeria to the knockouts over the other two slightly worse teams. Another group that's not too easy to predict, featuring Portugal, Uzbekistan, Colombia, and either Jamaica, New Caledonia, or the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unsurprisingly, Portugal is going to breeze through this group, even without Ronaldo being in the lineup for the first two games. Uzbekistan, who are possibly the worst international team in the world, aren't going to do much at all. Colombia is definitely a good side, but I'd pick a qualifying Jamaica to join Portugal in the knockouts, as they've been criminally underrated for a long time. Now, the final group stage to predict is a fun one for sure, featuring England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. This group is sure to produce some good matches, and to give the Three Lions the momentum to prove this is finally the year that it's coming home. The other three teams are all quite good, but I've got to give the edge to Croatia. In what will surely be Luka Modric's final World Cup captain in Croatia, they're for sure going to put in a good showing to end off the World Cup group stage. Those were my predictions and reactions for the 2026 World Cup group stages. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Now, I will be creating a channel Discord server at 50 subscribers, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that happen. Love you all.